So when Mark had to step away for filming, and two of Kelly's dear friends, Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen, filled in for him, there were bound to be some challenges. As Kelly humorously pointed out, Mark isn't the type to let a stump Mark moment slide, especially if his friends aren't taking it as seriously as he does. Anderson and Andy, though both excellent co-hosts and beloved figures in their own right, have a more casual approach to the game. For Mark, who has it down to a science and prides himself on his sharpness, this is a recipe for disaster. The betrayal of Stump Mark, Kelly's hilarious observations. On a recent Live with Kelly and Mark episode, Kelly shared some inside details about how Mark would likely react once he returns to the show. As she explained, there are a few things going on that are bound to piss him off, particularly regarding how Anderson and Andy handled the Stump Mark game during his absence. According to Kelly, Mark's competitive nature means that he would never let a contestant win too easily, and he keeps a tight grip on the prize giveaways. But Anderson and Andy, they didn't quite uphold the high standards that Mark has set. Kelly laughed as she recalled one moment where Anderson Cooper was completely duped by a contestant's lie during the game, laughing off the trickery as if it was no big deal. This kind of relaxed approach to Stump Mark will likely feel like a personal betrayal to Mark, who has always prided himself on his ability to outsmart contestants. Kelly wasn't shy about sharing her feelings, telling the audience, "Anderson ruined this yesterday," and adding, "Mark is going to be so PO'd. First Anderson and now you, a real betrayal." She even doubled down, joking, "He will feel betrayed." This was followed by some playful banter between her and Andy, where she emphasized how Mark would definitely take issue with their performance, and even live producer Michael Gelman agreed that Mark would be disappointed by the results. To make things worse, Kelly insisted that if Mark had any complaints, Andy could always tell him to show up for work, the streak that Mark Consuelos has built. For Mark, the Stump Mark game is far more than just a segment on the show. It's a personal challenge, and one he has perfected over time. He has a meticulous system for evaluating his performance, and is always striving to improve his accuracy. Kelly knows that Mark has a competitive streak a mile wide, and she finds humor in his commitment to making sure that no contestant walks away with a mug or t-shirt they didn't earn through honest effort. For Mark, every prize awarded is a win for the contestant, but a personal loss for him. He's obsessed with maintaining his near-perfect batting average. It's clear that Mark's competitive spirit runs deep. Not only does he keep track of how often he wins and loses, but he also shares this data with the live crew on a monthly basis, analyzing his performance in Stump Mark. The segment, while fun, has turned into something of a personal challenge for him. So when his friends, Anderson and Andy, step in to fill his shoes, it's no surprise that their more relaxed approach would cause some tension. They aren't taking the game with the same seriousness that Mark does, and Kelly made it clear that this would not sit well with him. Mark's return to Stump Mark. Although Kelly's humorous observations about Mark's potential outrage at Anderson and Andy's performance were made lightheartedly, they do highlight just how much Mark values the Stump Mark game. It's a symbol of his dedication to the show and his pride in his ability to stump the contestants. Mark will likely return to live with Kelly and Mark on January 24, which means it won't be long before his streak and his reputation is restored. When Mark does return to the set, it's safe to say that he'll be quick to regain his position as the Stump Mark champion. He'll undoubtedly reclaim his place in the spotlight, ensuring that no one else can play the game as well as he does. But even as Kelly and her co-hosts continue to make light of Mark's perfectionist tendencies, it's clear that the competitive fire inside him will only be stoked further by Anderson and Andy's slip-ups. Kelly Ripa's role as the mischievous host. In her role as a host, Kelly Ripa has long been known for her playful interactions with her co-hosts and guests. Whether she's teasing her husband, poking fun at her celebrity friends, or engaging in light-hearted banter with her colleagues, Kelly always brings a sense of humor to the show. This time, however, her teasing of Mark's competitive streak is rooted in a genuine affection for him. Even as she plays up the potential drama Kelly and Mark host, Kelly Ripa admits her husband, Mark Consuelos, may have a little case of FOMO while he is away from the set. However, during the show she ran across a few things she thinks he will be so *** and feel betrayed by. Kelly Ripa thinks Mark is twitching watching live. Unmistakably, Live with Kelly and Mark host, Mark Consuelos has a fairly good sense of humor. However, there are a few areas that can truly rile him up. Recently, Mark took some time away from the show to film a new movie somewhere in the South. But Kelly Ripa observed a few things that are happening while he is away that is going to piss him off. Furthermore, she believes he is going to see the actions as a betrayal. Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, Live with Kelly and Mark. Although Kelly Ripa knows Mark will be sad he missed out on buddies, Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen, subbing for him, some of their choices will have him twitching. Although both Anderson and Andy are great friends and even entertaining co-hosts for Kelly, Mark has very specific ways he does one segment of the show in particular. He might let it slide that they don't cover sports with the same tenacity, but Kelly knows they'd better shape up with their performances in the stump Mark area. Kelly Ripa says Mark's will be so off and feel betrayed. Undeniably, Mark Consuelos wants every contestant to lose, but Anderson Cooper just laughed when one player conned him into believing their lie. He couldn't believe how people would play him like that. Likewise, Andy Cohen gets taken to the cleaners as well. Although Kelly finds his disastrous performance funny, she tries to persuade Andy to take it more seriously for Mark's sake. Kelly Ripa laughs at Andy Cohen after his stumping. Live with Kelly and Mark, she said. Anderson ruined this yesterday. Then Kelly adds emphasis that stump Mark is his baby. Trying to motivate, she says, Mark is going to be so PO'd. First Anderson and now you, a real betrayal. Reiterating the guilt, she adds, he will feel betrayed. Andy just says she can tell Mark to show up for work if he has complaints. Kelly rubs it in, first Anderson, and now you. Furthermore, Michael Gilman agrees it will be very disappointing to him. Mark has it down to a science. Seemingly, Andy Cohen essentially tells Mark Consuelos that if he wants it done, he'll have to do it himself. But Kelly Ripa knows how brutal Mark can be with his rigorous methods of searching out the lies during Stump Mark. He doesn't want to let a single mug or t-shirt fall into the hands of game participants. So much so that he has the live crew track his progress of winning to losing ratio so he can report on it monthly. Additionally, he carries it like a badge of his stellar batting averages. However, Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen pinch-hitting on his behalf is tanking his records. However, his friend's laissez-faire approaches to stumping fans are undoubtedly going to get under his skin. Seemingly, Mark will be back at bat on Friday, January 24, if all goes as planned. What do you think about Kelly Ripa's assessment that Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper blowing Mark Consuelos' streak will piss him off? Do you think they will shape up in future appearances? Are you missing Mark on Live with Kelly and Mark? Drop your comments below. Kelly Ripa's hilarious insight into Mark Consuelos' FOMO and the Stump Mark controversy. Kelly Ripa, the charismatic host of Live with Kelly and Mark, recently gave fans a glimpse into the inner workings of her marriage to fellow TV personality Mark Consuelos. As the show navigates through his absence, due to his commitment to filming a new movie in the South, Kelly has noticed something that is sure to rile him up once he's back on set. Although Mark has a great sense of humor and a laid-back approach to many things, there's one specific segment on Live with Kelly and Mark that he takes incredibly seriously, and it involves a streak of competitive pride. Kelly, ever the entertaining host, shared her thoughts on how Mark will likely react to what's been happening in his absence, particularly regarding one segment that could spark a little bit of FOMO, fear of missing out, and even a sense of betrayal. Mark Consuelo's absence, FOMO and his competitive spirit. Mark Consuelos is known for his playful demeanor on Live with Kelly and Mark, often balancing humor with a bit of competitiveness. However, it seems that his laid-back nature has a limit, especially when it comes to one aspect of the show, the Stump Mark segment. For fans who might be unfamiliar, Stump Mark is a game in which Kelly and the audience try to outwit Mark with tricky questions, testing his knowledge and wit. It's a segment Mark takes seriously. He's invested in his performance, so much so that he tracks his own Stump Mark statistics and has created a personal challenge to avoid letting any contestant walk away with the prize.